What is up? Welcome into the Early Edge powered by SportsLine. I am your host, Allan Bell, and we are going to preview tonight's Sunday Night Football, Broncos at Chiefs. And let's waste zero time bringing the stars of the show. And my boys, look, I'm in the host seat tonight. Coach is in Florida. He's got his things that he's working on, but we'll go ahead. Hey, you know what? We still got work to do, right? So M Squared, how we doing, my man?
We're doing all right. I haven't turned on the rest of the Steelers game, but we've had some massive DFS sweats. Okay, Deontay Johnson scored again. It's a great day in the suburbs. It's been a tilting day, but it's a great day now. Great day now.
Dude, it's been a wild day across the NFL. Prop stars, man, how we doing, buddy?
What up, AB? Mikey, great to see you. Yeah, it's been an interesting day indeed. I'm excited to recap everything and talk about tonight's game.
Yeah, obviously, looking around the league, we see the Lions get themselves a win today. Washington comes back on the Raiders. I had the Raiders -1. I thought I was going to get the push. Washington goes down, kicks the field goal with about 40 seconds left, man. Credit to them. That's a good, balanced football team. Obviously, as M Squared talked about, the Steelers and Ravens going back and forth right now. It's been a wild day, but I'll tell you what, we've got a great game. And I don't want to waste any time. I want to get into it. So we've got the Broncos at the Chiefs, all right? Chiefs are an 8.5-point favorite, a total of 46.5. So let's start with the spread, all right? So if we look at official plays that we have from people on SportsLine, the Maestro, he's on the Broncos +10. Micah Roberts, he's on the under 46.5. RJ White is on the Broncos +9.5 and the under 47. But as for us, no official plays on the spreads or total, but I do want to discuss it here. So, Mike, I'm going to throw it to you, man. You know the Chiefs better than anybody. What are you thinking about this 8.5 spread?
Yeah, this one is super interesting. I'm actually pretty stunned that it's gotten to 8.5. I loved when it opened at 10, and there's reasons why it opens higher and stays there for a little bit. I actually talked about it in our Tuesday mega preview, but the reason why I'm stunned it's at 8.5, and I know the reason it wasn't at 8.5 early in the week is because it becomes a massive teaser spot. They wait to have that drop until after the other games that they can tease it with have already locked for the most part. Then they're going to be willing to drop it and take some additional action, but they're not going to hang 8.5 early in the week because you're bringing that down to under a field goal, which is super friendly for teasers. So once some of those games have locked, that's a little bit of what you're seeing. It's where the line basically should be, but that's why you saw some 9s, 9.5s, 10s for the most part of the week, is if you wanted to tease this game, which a lot of people obviously would, if it was going to be down to -2.5 in their teasers. But as far as this game goes, my simulation number is still -9.8 for Kansas City. The total in my sims is 47 exactly. I would lean towards Kansas City at anything less than 9, which is where you're at right now. I have not locked it in here. Look, these are the games that we expect to be competitive. We know how big these spreads are. For them to be comfortable in the final drive of this game, like, you need them to be up 21 plus points in this game to really be comfortable in the last 6 minutes of this game. So it's a huge number. I see the chat asking, yes, there will be a donkey. It has not been released yet, but -9.8 on the sim and 47 is the number for me on the total.
Nice. All right, prop stars. Yeah, throw it to you, man. What do you think about the spread?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We all know about Andy Reid's success coming off of a bye. We've also seen the Chiefs playing a lot better football lately, both offensively and defensively. So I'm expecting a big performance out of Kansas City. Then on Denver's side, I'm interested to see Javonte Williams have the entire show to himself in Denver's backfield. He is a very explosive, dynamic player that frankly, he's earned more touches in that backfield. It's a shame it took a Melvin Gordon injury for him to finally get it. So, yeah, he's going to be a handful for Kansas City. Very dynamic, electric player. But I am not sold on Teddy Two Gloves in a game that projects to potentially be a shootout, or if Kansas City is going to be moving the ball up and down the field. Even though he's got a ton of weapons, I just do not have a lot of confidence in Teddy Bridgewater to keep up in this game. So, yeah, I'm liking Kansas City.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, man. Let's stay with you, and then M Squared, I'm going to come right back to you. You bring up, in terms of the scoring of both teams. So let's discuss the total. Mike, did you say you saw it just tick up to 47?
47 is my actual simulation number. I'm not sure where it is currently. I think it's probably 46.5.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Just want to make sure. Yeah. Yep. All right, so prop stars, 46.5. Okay. What are you thinking on the total here? You were just, speaking about not only the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of their offensive scoring, but couple that with Denver, Teddy Bridgewater, etc. Where you at? Where do you sit with this?
Yeah, leaning over on it personally, I think it does come down to somewhat if, and this is probably stating the obvious, if Denver can convert those red zone opportunities from field goals to touchdowns, then I definitely think we're going over. But yeah, like I mentioned, Kansas City's defense is playing a lot better coming off of a bye. I'm sure Kansas City is going to do their part. I just have some hesitation and concerns with this Broncos offense, specifically Teddy Bridgewater cashing in and scoring touchdowns. So leaning over, but don't have a strong take on it.
Yeah, M Squared, your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, at this point I have to lean over just because my number is slightly over the number. 47, 46 and a half, 247 is still a somewhat key number at this point. So I would lean towards the over. But like Alex is saying there, my question is not on the Kansas City side. It's very clearly on the Denver side. I think that there's a scenario here based on how well the Chiefs defense has been playing and they're at home here. There's a scenario here where the Broncos fail to score more than 10 points in the entire game.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. And I'll tell you, we're going to jump in right now to official picks that we have. And I'll start. I've got Teddy Bridgewater. I only have one play for tonight. I've got Teddy Bridgewater over half an interception at minus 115. And look, I think it's going to be tough sledding, and especially for Bridgewater to where not only where the Chiefs might dictate the game in terms of points and Denver playing from behind, but also just the way that Denver's offense probably is right now, that he's going to have to put, anywhere from 30 to 34, attempts in the air. And I think that the way that this Kansas City Chiefs defense is playing, they should be able to get one. If we see Bridgewater over 30 attempts and he's throughout the game, yeah, man, I'm going to roll with that for sure. Props, I'm going to throw it to you, man. You've got Byron Pringle, correct? Talk to me, man. What do you got?
Yeah, so I've got one official play for this game. That is Byron Pringle over 20 and a half receiving yards. I do know that this on some books is 22 and a half. I would also play it there. So yeah, riding with Byron Pringle. McCole Hardman has been demoted in this offense. He was playing in two wide receiver sets, but after a tough game versus Dallas where he had a big drop, he has been demoted. Now Byron Pringle is playing in those two wide receiver sets. He's as close to a full-time player outside of Travis Kelce, outside of Tyreek Hill, as there is in the skill position players for Kansas City. Furthermore, he has cleared this number in 6 of 11 games this season, including the two previous matchup where we saw McCole Hardman's snaps reduced and Byron Pringle get a bump in playing time. Yeah, he's the closest thing to a full-time player. He has 86 snaps the last 2 weeks combined, compared to McCole Hardman, who has just 36. DeMarcus Robinson has 54. He ran a route on 67% of Mahomes' dropbacks in week 11. So yeah, I think he's locked into this role as the number 2 wide receiver, third option probably in the passing game for Kansas City. So I like Byron Pringle a lot over 19 and a half receiving yards.
There we go. And I'll tell you what, let's jump into the props here. We'll start with the Kansas City side. All right, so Patrick Mahomes, okay? So I'm just going to kind of run through what we have for him, all right? Total passing yards, 289 and a half. Passing touchdowns, 2.5. And I'll give you the juice on these. We'll just start. Total passing yards, okay? 289 and a half, over minus 115, under minus 115. M squared, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts there?
If you think the game's going to be really competitive, I would lean towards the over. I think that Kansas City wins this one pretty comfortably, so I like the under just slightly. I have it at 285. That number, that difference between that and where it's at is not enough on that kind of prop to be playing the under. Just saying that that's the direction I would lean. So a couple reasons for that. One of them is Kansas City's defense has been playing really well, and I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is very good, which leads to shorter fields typically. And two, both the running backs are healthy. You've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They do like to give him carries still. So for those reasons, and frankly, the way this Denver defense is going to have to defend and who they have to defend, we talk about it sometimes in these isolated games. You get pass interference calls that rack up yardage in terms of penalty yards that take away opportunities. So there's just a number of ways for Kansas City to move the ball and score. I think that if the game remains competitive for 4 quarters, it's not going to shock me if Mahomes throws for 340 yards in this game. But the median outcome here is 285 in my numbers, and I think it should be 280, the line, in my opinion, should be like 278, 279.
Yeah, isn't it always so difficult? Like when you have such an explosive player that literally, he could be so good and the team could be so good that they actually hit a lot of unders, right? Of just what you were saying, right? In terms of short fields, etc. But also, like, he could go for 320 at any moment, right? Like, it's so difficult with guys that are that good. Props, I'm going to throw it to you, man. What are your thoughts here? 289.5 for Mahomes.
Yeah, I think Mike hit the nail on the head. It's going to require Denver kind of pushing Kansas City tonight and scoring. If that happens, then yeah, I would definitely look over. But it is a big number. I just see Kansas City kind of handling this game. I don't think they're going to need Mahomes to air it out enough where we can comfortably bet this over. So yeah, I don't have a strong lean on it other way. So yeah, I'm probably staying away from this prop in particular.
I got you. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's flip it to the other quarterback here, Teddy Bridgewater. All right. 240.5 passing yards is where the line is at. Over is priced at -105. Under 240.5 is priced at -125. Props, your thoughts there?
Leaning under on this number. I know it's low. I know Kansas City's defense hasn't been good up until recently, but they've been playing a lot better. Furthermore, I do think Denver is going to really try to lean on Javonte Williams, who I do anticipate having a large game. I'll talk about him briefly or shortly. But yeah, so regarding Bridgewater, I just think early, while the game is within 10 points, I think that Denver is going to try to lean heavily on their ground game on Javonte Williams. So yeah, I'm either looking under or no play regarding Bridgewater's yards.
Mikey, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the under. So my number on it is 212. The juice makes it a little bit of a problem. If it was that number, it was 240, -110, -1, even -115. It's one where I would really consider playing it, but at that point, it's more of a stay away and just not bet it for me. But the simulations definitely lean towards the under, as I think it should be in that 210, 215 range.
Nice. Kelsey in the chat says, would you take Mahomes or Bridgewater interception? Look, I'm on Bridgewater, over half an interception, priced at -115. But I'll tell you what, I'd love you guys' thoughts here. Mike, I'll throw it to you first, then Props right after you. Would you guys take it? And let me say, Mahomes, his interception is, over half an interception, +110. Under half an interception, -140. All right. So, Mike, what are your thoughts there on either quarterback?
Yeah, generally I'll stay away on both of those. I would be more inclined to play it on Bridgewater in this tougher environment on the road, in something that we project as a game script that's going to be forcing them to throw the football later in the game, more desperation opportunities. Kansas City, we're not expecting that from him. So if you look at, you see Mahomes in the turnover numbers this year a lot. It's crazy, right? You look at it, it's not normal for his career at all. But a number of them have been tipped passes, the Tyreek Hill dropping really easy catches. They've been some really unfortunate luck in terms of some of how his turnovers have come out. So not something that I personally would be interested in there. But if I did, it would be on the Bridgewater side, not the Mahomes side, as I would not continue to bet on him turning the football over, especially at home.
Yep, I agree. Props?
I think Mikey nailed it. I tend to shy away from interception props myself. If I had to choose one, it would definitely be Bridgewater. However, there are some playmakers in that Denver secondary. Justin Simmons is one of the best safeties in the league. So, yeah, I can see Mahomes maybe throwing one or two bad passes. And, yeah, there are some good players in Denver secondary. But, yeah, I stay away from these props personally.
Yep. All right, anybody, if you have any prop questions, any questions in regards to anything that's bettable in this game, drop them in the chat. We'll certainly hit those. Now, I need you guys' help real quick. I've seen in the chat, things are going crazy in regards to this Ravens-Steelers game. Do any of you have it on in front of you right now? It looks like the Ravens scored, went for 2. I guess they didn't get.
Yeah, I believe it finished 20-19 Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh ended up winning. Baltimore did score a touchdown on the final drive. And, yeah.
Wow. So Pittsburgh won 20-19.
Yep.
Wow. That's a big win, man. That's a good win for them. Okay, let's jump into continue with props. Tyreek Hill, obviously, always a completely popular play. Look, some interesting numbers on him, okay? So rushing yards, over 3.5, all right, 120, under 3.5, 110. His receiving yards are, sorry, I'm looking for it right here. We got his receiving yards at 83.5, 115 on either side. Mikey, I'll start with you again. What are your thoughts on Tyreek Hill as a whole? Any thoughts receiving, rushing, etc.? Anything?
Yeah, so it depends on the number you're getting. I've seen some on Tyreek around 77.5, which is a much more friendly number than 80-something, 83. I think it's appropriate, and the reason why is the team's just a little more healthy. Having Clyde Edwards-Helaire back is just another way for them to use him and get people the ball in space. So it does impact someone like Tyreek. I also think that there's a lot more chemistry, again, with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. I like this spot a lot for Travis Kelce. So at 77, I would take the over on Tyreek. At 83, it would be a stay away. If it was all the way up to 88, 89, I would start to consider the under. But I'm not going from 77 over to like 83 and under. I'm not going to get that cute on a player like Tyreek personally. So if you can get it around 77, 78, I would lean towards the over. If not, you're at this point likely staying away or including it in a donkey parlay where you're taking an alt line that drops that number significantly. He's someone when you can drop his number by, say, 20 yards, that's a massive deal.
Yeah. Props, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think Mike hit the nail on the head. It's an efficient number. Regarding the rushing number, that one piques my interest a little bit. He's had 8 carries this season. I think in 8 of 11 games, he's had at least 1 carry. So, yeah, they likely are going to give him an end around or at least one direct snap or handoff tonight. So, yeah, I do think if you like that prop, that has a little bit of value because he is going to get a touch, very likely, have a chance for that 4-yard rushing prop, which is always really fun to hit. But, yeah, I do think the receiving line is quite efficient.
All right, question for you in the chat here. Props, would you play Pringle up to 25?
I would. That's kind of. I haven't projected for 33 yards, so that's kind of where, the edge isn't quite there at 25. So, yeah, I'd play it probably no more than 23.5.
Mike?
I just want to back him up on it. I have a really nice number on Pringle. My number's all the way up to 36 on him, about 3 yards. I mean, it's similar to Alex, but it's up there. And I will admit that I get more aggressive with things like that with certain teams. For me with Pringle, it's been a clear trend that he is the number 2 wide receiver on the team. He has clearly overtaken Mecole Hardman in snaps. The only thing I will be cautious with here is they are coming off of a bye. If Hardman was dealing with something, whether it's an undisclosed injury or anything like that, which could have potentially been the reason that he was slowly losing some work, like it's within the cards. So I do like the approach of maybe shying away once that number approaches 25 or more. But just know that my number here is all the way up to 36. And 36 on a 25 line is still a big enough edge in this offense because it is still a play that if you go, what I like to do actually is when you're looking at players like this, go look at like what that quarterback's longest reception or longest pass completion yardage number is. And if it's comfortably under that number and your edge is close or you think it's close there, I think it's fine to lean in that direction just because it's literally one that can hit in one play.
I like it. All right. I want to talk Javonte Williams. Props, I'm going to come to you. All right. His rushing yards, over 70.5, minus 105, under 70.5, minus 125. Your thoughts there?
It's an over or it's a shy away. This guy is one of the most dynamic players in football. He's the best rookie running back, in my opinion. I know some people would go Najee Harris, but his advanced metrics are absolutely off the charts. He ranks second in breakaway percentage to only Jonathan Taylor. If you look at a lot of the advanced stuff, he has been absolutely phenomenal. He is just a big play waiting to happen. If one thing that also correlates with Denver's wins is this guy usually has just a massive play at one point in the game, usually in a really pivotal moment as well. I have been clamoring for him. I know a lot of people in the fantasy and the prop community as well have been wanting this guy to get more involved because he has earned more touches, but Denver has been very careful to split his touches evenly. Actually, Melvin Gordon's played a bit more than him, which to me is unthinkable, but at the same time, it obviously, he is a rookie. They obviously want to save him for the future because he's, the future of the position and the franchise. But yeah, he has earned more playing time. So I'm very excited to see. Obviously, Melvin Gordon is inactive tonight. The rain's taken off of him. What can happen when you give this guy 20, 25 touches? So yeah, I like the over on the rushing prop quite a bit. His combined rushing and receiving is 109 yards, which is just gigantic for a player who we've never seen get 20, 22 touches in a game. So, yeah, that's a high number. I'm shying away from that. I do know that there are some sharp people who are playing that under. However, I think that Denver is going to run the ball. They run the ball when they're down as well. So, yeah, I like the rushing prop over 70 or 72.5 yards for sure. They're going to give him 16 touches. He only needs 12 or 14 to go over this number against Kansas City. He is so explosive. I also like his longest rush. I believe it's 15.5 or 16.5 yards. Also a high number, but this guy is so dynamic, possesses the ability to do chunk. If he's like getting like 3-4 carries and doesn't break off a big play, he's going to just snap off big plays. So, yeah, I like him. He's super explosive. Love everything besides the combo prop, which I do think is a large number.
Yeah, and I'll say, look, Marcus Cooper, my man in the chat, says, smash everything Javonte. He likes it. He agrees with you. Mikey, what are your thoughts, man, on Javonte rushing, receiving, really anything with him whatsoever?
I'm excited for it just because I know, listening to Alex, since I've met the guy, you talked about Javonte a lot. We've bet this number a lot. And when I say we bet this number, we love to bet Javonte's longest rush. And we've been hitting this number since it was 9.5. And to go from 9.5 to 15 is a huge deal for a running back like that. So it's been really fun to see his progression, but I obviously don't think it's anywhere near his ceiling. So really great spot for him. And like Alex said, I do expect them to still run the ball a little bit when they're trailing. So yeah, I fire away on the Javonte stuff. I lean towards all the overs, staple in all the DFS lineups that I'm still building right now. So fire away on Javonte. And then last thing, I got to pat myself on the back just a little bit. I talked about on the morning show, right? There's like one or two places that really stand out with home field advantage in the NFL still. Seattle and Pittsburgh. Both of those teams ended up winning outright today in really, really, really big spots when everyone was ready to count them out. It's really fun to see that. Unless you're on the other side. If you're on the other side, it's probably not so fun, but yeah.
Yeah. No, you nailed it. I mean, you absolutely did. You talked about Seattle, especially the divisional game, too. I thought that was an important point by you. Yeah, well done. And let me say, all right, while we're on rushing, let's go ahead and wrap it up in terms of that. And then we're going to hit Travis Kelce, and we've got some questions in the chat I want to get to, too. All right, on Kansas City side, all right, we've got Darrell Williams, 26.5, all right, over plus 100, under minus 130, sorry. And we've also got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, all right, over 61.5 rushing yards, minus 115, under 61.5, minus 115 as well. Mikey, I'll stay with you. Your thoughts on either of those guys? Anything you like, hate, fading? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I lean towards what was Darrell Williams' number again? Sorry.
Yep, Darrell Williams is at 26.5. The over is plus 100. The under is minus 130.
I actually lean over on Darrell and under on Clyde, but I don't love either of those positions, but that's the way I would go. It is important to note that, Clyde has returned. They're off the bye. He did come into this game with an injury designation. He is probable and active in this game, but the number is close enough. I have it up to 58. I believe you said the market's currently at 61. This is one with Clyde where when we can get him around 50 to 55, which happens from time to time, that's when you play Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's a very comfortable number. It's just like Tyreek, frankly, the difference between 77 and 85 to 87. Those last 10 yards in this offense make a massive difference with the weapons that they have on the field. So I do lean under on Clyde. I do lean over on Williams, knowing that I'm getting plus money on Williams, knowing that there's a chance that Clyde Edwards-Helaire isn't truly healthy in this spot. That's the one I would play, is the over and not the under on it. But I do lean under on Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, props. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I think Mike summed up my feelings as well, especially regarding Edwards-Helaire. One number I do like a lot, I'm going to think about making it an official play by the time we end this stream, is actually Edwards-Helaire under 14.5 rushing attempts. I think it goes along with a lot what Mike was talking about, where he's coming into this game with an injury designation. We've seen him be injured multiple times throughout his career. The guy has not been durable whatsoever. They have a competent backup in Darrell Williams, the mentor, by the way, who is pretty good, who's filled in admirably, and he's going to get work as well. Furthermore, Edwards-Helaire has only eclipsed 15 carries one time this season, and it was a game he had 17 carries. I believe it was week 2. So, yeah, he's been held under this number, and I want to say 6 of 7 games. I do expect Darrell Williams to mix in tonight. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if Edwards-Helaire had a pitch count, or maybe not a pitch count, but I don't know. It's hard for me to envision him eclipsing 13, 14 carries. I do think they're going to, give those touches to Darrell Williams if the game gets out of hand. So, yeah, I really like Edwards-Helaire under 14.5 rushing attempts.
Nice. All right. I'll tell you what, we're going to hit pause real quick. Mikey, go ahead. Yeah, you got something?
I was just going to look it up because I'll make it an official. 14.5. I'll make it an official play and play it with him as well. So he's hit this number one time. It was week 3 against the Chargers, a team that invites the run, and they was having massive success doing it, averaging 6 yards a carry in that game, which is why it was a tighter competitive game. So I think they'll use him in the passing game a little bit, but yes, it's a good spot. It's at 14.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook currently. I was going to
say, reset that. All right, so what's your official play?
I'll take the under 14.5 rushing attempts for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
All up on that too, so mark me down as well.
Okay, all right, so you're on that as well. Let's reset it right here. So we got that from Mikey. Props, you're adding that. What is your Byron Pringle play?
The Byron Pringle play is over 20.5 yards. I'd play that up to 23 or 24.5.
Okay, and my official play, I'm on
Pringle.
Yeah, okay. My official play, I'm on Teddy Bridgewater over half an interception at minus 115. All right, now, Mikey, I got a question for you. Are you good for the donkey right now? Are we good to go to it right now?
We are good to go to the donkey right now.
All right, let's do it. I want to give everybody plenty of time to get this up on the screen. Let me jump this up here. Think I've got it. Hope I've got it. We've got it. All right, Mikey, go ahead, man. What do you got, buddy?
All right, this one's kind of a modest donkey. We've given you some other plays. Feel free to add to them because I know a lot of you do anyway. All right, we're going Kansas City Chiefs minus 2.5, Denver Broncos plus 17.5, the alternate total over 36.5, Travis Kelce over 59.5 receiving yards, Tyreek Hill over 64.5 receiving yards, and then Byron Pringle over 9.5 receiving yards. Put those all together, pays plus 575. Now, one slight recommendation, if you want to be more aggressive and take the number up closer to where Alex is playing Byron Pringle, you can bring his number up to 19.5, and that pushes this thing over, I believe, plus 750 just by making that 10 extra yards on Byron Pringle.
Nice. And I'll tell you what, I'll leave this up on the screen so everybody can see it for a couple more minutes. Look, I want to play a little bit of a game here, okay? Now, there are always times when I might be different. I don't know. I look at these games and I just kind of go through and I'm like, all right, these are the bets that caught my eye, right? And then you kind of start going through it. You're like, all right, I'm actually might only play one of these. But is there anything in this game that caught your eye? You didn't play it, but you looked a little bit deeper, all right? You kind of understand the question. You see where I'm going with it? Prop, I'll start with you, man. Anything that you saw that you kind of liked, but you just didn't pull the trigger on it?
Travis Kelce over 5.5 receptions. I thought that was a very solid play. Considering Kelce is one of the biggest target hogs in the NFL. I haven't seen him at 5.5 this entire season either. I thought that was a very interesting play. It was heavily juiced. I believe it was minus 155. I typically avoid overs with that much juice if I can, which is what ultimately led me to shy away from it. But I do think that it is a great number for any Travis Kelce backers. And it would not surprise me at all if he had 6 receptions in the first half.
Nice. Mikey, anything?
I mean, it was just Travis Kelce overs in general. I've included him in the donkey. I liked Tyreek at some of the more friendly numbers earlier that I missed out on. I've included them both there, so that's where I'm at on it. I will caution with Travis Kelce, like I always do. If for some reason the Chiefs start slow, right, and this game is tied at halftime or it's tied deeper into the second quarter, it's likely because Travis Kelce hasn't done anything, right? If that is the case and you have access to sportsbook that let you live bet props, that's when I would start to go look at the live bet numbers. It'll come down from what it's at by 10, 15, 20 yards. that's when I would start to look at it, because he will get peppered with targets if the game is ultra competitive or if they are trailing. If they're trailing, it's because Tyreek's unable to get free, frankly. It just likely is, right? Or Denver is just playing really well offensively. But if that's the case and you don't feel comfortable with the pregame number, that's how I'll be playing Travis Kelce. It's a little different for me because I have exposure through daily fantasy to Travis Kelce in very specific spots. I have him in this donkey parlay, so I didn't need to get on it right there at that point. So I'll be looking to play it live because he's one of the best examples of, if things aren't going well, it actually, his props shouldn't drop as quickly as it does. And I hope the sportsbook's not listening, and I know they are, but it's one of the inefficiencies out there in Kansas City Chiefs games.
Props. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, another, just to kind of jump with the theme, another bet that caught my eye that I took a look at that I considered but ultimately shot away from is Mahomes' passing attempts at 36.5. He is averaging, I think, in the low 40s per game. He has cleared the number in 8 of 11 games. However, I ultimately shied away because, this is a large point spread, nearly 10 points. I do question if Denver can push Kansas City. If Denver does push Kansas City, or I guess this bet, Mike talks about bets that often correlate well with overs and unders. If you like the over, then I think Mahomes is definitely throwing more than 37 attempts tonight. So yeah, he's shattered this number in 8 and 11 games, 8 and 11 starts this season. So yeah, that's an interesting one.
Well, I'll tell you what, you bring up a great question. All right. So with the Chiefs, with this number, you said 36.5, correct? All right.
Yes.
So, Mike, I'm going to come to you in regards to it. Now, the Chiefs, whether they're up, down, they do use the short passing game for the run game at times, but I'm going to throw it to you. What are your thoughts on that number? Regardless, I guess, well, not regardless of game script, but yeah, I'll get out of your way. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I have a slight lean on the over on the attempts number for that reason, because they do throw some very short touch passes. They do throw some attempts like that. My issue is they still have a number of electric players that can pick up massive yardage in single plays. So that's my only cause for concern. And some shorter fields that I think, if the defense continue, frankly, a lot of people don't like to hear this. It's very much true if you look at some of the consensus numbers where the game is priced tonight, frankly. If you give the defense the way they've been playing recently and the way the offense is starting to come around, they're the consensus best team in the NFL again. That's the way they're being valued in the market today. That's the way certain models have them priced, and they're giving that defense that credit. So if you give that defense that credit, you have to be very careful with some of these numbers, because they are going to have short fields. They are going to be winning football games. They're playing at home. It's just, we all want to bet the over because they're super exciting and they're super fun players. But to go over 37.5 or 36.5, whatever it is, you really do need the game to be either really competitive, or you need them to just put the foot down and not let up at all in this game.
Yeah. And you're right. This is the team where you do want to play overs because it's so much fun, because they have so many different stars, and you're, just accustomed to the Chiefs scoring. Now, I'll say this. So going back to that game where we were looking at plays that we almost rode with, all right? Rob King in the chat asked a question. AB, did you release a first quarter play? Look, these were mine that I almost went with. I didn't pull the trigger. I still like them. And what you have are first quarter Chiefs -3, first half Chiefs -5.5. I actually like the first half better, that you're getting it under 6. Now, I know that 5.5, Mike, you could talk way more about it in regards to those being key numbers, but I liked the 5.5 better than the first quarter, just because first quarters can go so fast, and you might only have one drive, and the start of a second. There's just so much risk there in the NFL. But I did like that first half 5.5. Guys, your thoughts on that? Props. I'll start with you, man. First quarter, first half, either way.
Yeah, you did hit the nail on the head, AB, regarding the first quarter one being a little bit subject to some variance in the event that Denver, wins the coin, or, starts with the ball and then ultimately has a, 8-minute drive, or they wind up with 3 points, or, score a touchdown. So yeah, you're subject to some volatility there. I do prefer the first half one. I do expect Kansas City, just coming off of a bye, they're going to be sharp. Andy Reid, when he scripts the first X amount of plays, has a tremendous track record. So yeah, I would, out of those two, I'd prefer the Chiefs in the first half.
Mikey, your thoughts on it either?
Yeah, the first quarter, if you're betting first quarters, I personally would look at totals more than the spreads. For the first half, I think it's fine to look at the spread there, but I would look at the first quarter, and I actually still would lean towards the under on it, which I know is terrifying with an offense like Kansas City on the field. However, one thing Kansas City does really well, they eat the crap out of the clock. They chew the clock like nobody's business. When they are having success moving the football, they are notorious for having these drives that take up 7-8 minutes off of the clock. And you're just like, and it's why it's frustrating, frankly. Like you see them in fantasy, you see them for props and other things. They have these long drives. And if they don't end in a touchdown, they have a 6-minute drive that ends in a field goal. And you're only getting 7-8 drives a game. Like you look at some of their numbers and why they project so well, why they're so good. Because they're massively efficient, because they're so good at taking time off the clock when they make these drives. Like they have games where they only have 7-8 drives in the entire game. So just something to think about. I would lean towards the under in their first quarters, though, just because they typically come out well prepared and they do eat a lot of clock. Yes, they typically end with a touchdown, but it comes with a touchdown and 2 to 3 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah. All right. I'll tell you what, we're going to play a little rapid fire here really quickly. And then we're going to get to our official picks. We'll reset those and get to the Van Jefferson so that we can let everybody get their bets in and get on with the game. Look, all right, so we're going to go rapid fire here. All right, and we're playing longest reception, okay? So, Mike, you'll go first. Props, you'll go second. I'm just going to give it to you. Go quick. Say yes or no, and we'll go with it. All right, Jerry Jeudy, longest reception over 22.5 yards.
I lean towards the over just because I think the opportunity will be there, and he is one of the players that I am super bullish on, just his overall athletic ability. So I'm certainly not taking the under on it. I can tell you that.
Props.
Mike nailed it. I'm very bullish on Jeudy as well. Really like him tonight. Outside of Javonte Williams, he's probably my favorite Denver player as far as overs or props are concerned. So, yeah, I'm bullish on pretty much everything Jeudy. Like his receptions a lot, over 4.5 as well.
All right. You know what? You bring up the name, Javonte Williams. Mike, over 12.5, under 12.5.
Javonte Williams' longest reception?
Yep.
I'm not playing it either way. I would lean a little under on it. I'm more bullish on his running ability. I'm more bullish on him having one of those draw plays that he takes for 25 yards. So I can't get there on the receptions, which the logic's kind of flawed, if I'm being honest with you, just because he's electric once he touches the football, but it's not one. It's too close to his overall number in my model that I'm not banking on the one play. And that
I feel you. Yeah, props.
I go over on it personally. Yeah, I just think Denver's going to just make a concerted effort. I mean, he is their lone healthy running back. I think Mike Boone is third on the depth chart. I just don't see there's such a massive drop-off. If Denver's smart, they will give Javonte the ball as much as possible, be creative, get the ball in his hands, screens, everything. So, yeah, I think pretty much over on everything outside of that combo prop I'm good with.
All right. Tyreek Hill, over 24.5.
I'll take the over on that one.
Prop?
Same. Over.
Nice. All right, last one. Travis Kelce, 22.5.
I personally will take the over as well. I think in pretty much most game scripts, if they're winning and crushing this team, it's because they have a couple of big plays and get both of those guys in. So, yeah, I like the over on both of them.
Props?
Yeah, it's just really hard to bet against Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill when these guys are nearly guaranteed to see 8 to 12 targets and are as dynamic and explosive as they are. Just betting unders, it's over or nothing as far as I'm concerned. I think Mike would probably agree.
For sure.
Yep, I'm with you on that. All right, so it is the top of the hour, 8 o'clock Eastern here. Let's go ahead. Let's reset our official picks for anybody who might be new joining us. Then we're going to jump into the Van Jefferson Memorial, and then we'll hit Mike's Donkey Parlay of the day one more time. So, Mike, what are your official plays for tonight?
The official play is just going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire under 14.5 rushing attempts. Still up on DraftKings right now. It has moved to minus 120, but it is still there. That is my only official play other than the donkey on this game. And then
Props?
I saw another question in the chat. So to clarify, when I was looking at Travis Kelce, if they start slow, I'm not looking to play his unders in game. I'm looking to play his overs in game once that number has come down, because if like when he's on a roll, when they're going to him desperately, if that pregame number comes down to around 50 to 60 yards and he doesn't have any catches, any yardage at that point, I'm still very much interested because of how quickly he picks up. We've seen many drives where he picks up 40 yards, 3 catches, 40 yards on a single drive. And that's what will be required for them to ultimately go win the game or stay in the game if they're struggling.
Yep. All right. Props. Official play.
Yeah, so I'm also on Clyde Edwards-Helaire under 14.5 rushing attempts. Mike and I both talked about. He's only had over 15 rushing attempts one time this season. Mike mentioned that was against San Diego, who's the biggest run funnel in the NFL. He has an injury designation coming into this game. Darrell Williams, the mentor, has also been very solid. He's going to mix in as well. Kansas City just doesn't even like to run the ball that much. They use the short passing game as an extension of the running game. So, yeah, I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire under 14.5 rushing attempts. My other official play is Byron Pringle over 20.5 receiving yards. I'd play this up to 24.5 receiving yards. He's asserted himself as the number 2 wide receiver on 2 wide receiver sets in this Kansas City offense. He's out-snapped McCole Hardman nearly 2-1 over the past 2 weeks. He's cleared this in 6 of 11 games. He's cleared this in the past 2 games where he's essentially become a full-time player in Kansas City's offense. If you can get any piece of this Kansas City offense that's essentially on the field, running routes on 67% of Mahomes' dropbacks, and you get him around 20 yards, that is just a must-play, in my opinion, blindfold every week.
Look, again, Marcus Cooper said, let's go Pringle, smashing it. There you go. My only play tonight is Teddy Bridgewater over half an interception at -115. Again, it's pretty much what you guys have laid out. Kansas City's defense has been fueling this team as of late. Not that their offense hasn't been as well, but we've seen just a massive jump in how aggressive that this defense plays. I think that, if you were getting Teddy Bridgewater over 30 attempts that we're going to get tonight, he is going to put some risky balls up in the air, and I think Kansas City's coming down with at least one. So, yeah, I'm going with that. Now, before we get to the Van Jefferson Memorial, Mike, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring back up the donkey. If you will walk through that for everybody one more time, that'd be great.
Yes, we'll run through the donkey here. Kansas City Chiefs, alt spread, -2.5. Denver Broncos, +17.5. The over 36.5 total points in this game. This one's nice because 37 to 41 is a really key range in the NFL in general. So over 36.5 total points. Travis Kelce, over 59.5 receiving yards. Tyreek Hill, over 64.5 receiving yards. And then Byron Pringle, over 9.5 receiving yards. And then my only other little piece of advice, because I do have a much bigger edge on Byron Pringle, as does Alex. If you take his number up to 19.5, this bumps the parlay all the way up to +750.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, props good.
I just want to point out to our listeners, a lot of them know this, but those that don't, I believe, Mike, you've hit 4 out of the last 5 donkey parlays, or 4 out of 6?
I believe it's 4 of 6 on the primetime games. Yep.
That is incredible.
It's incredible, dude. Like, that's incredible, man. Well done on that. Let's make it 5 out of 7. All right. Our final segment of the night before we jump off and let everybody get to their books, put their props in. And seriously, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate you. This show is all about you guys. It's the best chat in the country. You guys make it the best. You make the show what it is. So thank you so much. All right. Our Van Jefferson Memorial. What we do, if you're new to the show, we select the first touchdown scorer of the game. The rules are this. It has to be plus 1,000 or more. Now, if you hit it, you get in the club. And, buddy, our man Prop Stars is in the club. So here's the problem. Props is in there. M Squared is in there. You guys are having a nice drink, taking a shot before this game starts. And, buddy, I'm outside out front trying to get in, trying to pay the bouncer to let me in. He's telling me, no, you got to earn your way in here. So, Prop Stars, you are the newest member to the club. We'll let you go first, buddy. What do you got?
I just want to say it pays to have friends in high places. So shout out to Coach for pulling some strings, getting me in. I do feel a little bit guilty. I feel like some nepotism was at play. So I want to get in also on my own. I'm still very motivated to get in there, even though I am in there. So I'm going Cortland Sutton plus 1,800. Cortland Sutton has not had a good season. I think this guy is a very talented wide receiver. The connection with Bridgewater just hasn't really been there. But yeah, just 2 years ago, he was one of the most promising young receivers. He had 6 touchdowns, over 1,000 receiving yards. I think he's going to get back on track. He's too talented not to. Wouldn't surprise me at all for him to hook up with a deep shot with Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm going Cortland Sutton.
Nice. And I'll tell you what, I talked to Coach and the jeweler before the show. The jeweler is also on Cortland Sutton tonight. Mikey, you're also in the club, buddy. What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm going to Kansas City Chiefs side on this one. I'm going Byron Pringle. I'm going to continue to bank on the taking over that clear number 2 wide receiver role. He's got a pretty good average depth of target as well. One of the better ones on the team, frankly, because you see so many shorter passes to Tyreek and the other guys. So just banking on the number of snaps he's going to play, I think this is a great spot for him, and the price is not caught up to where it should be. In this offense, as a team that's favored playing at home, there's no reason he should be plus 2,200 when you can get other guys like Judy and some of the others at plus 1,600, plus 1,700. They should be the same, if not higher.
Nice. Now, I'll tell you this. So I also got Coach's pick, and it happened to be the exact same player that I'm on. So if it hits, me and Coach are both going in the club together, which I think is probably the only way that this thing can go down. So we are going with McCole Hardman tonight, plus 1,750, plus 1,800, depending on what book you are at. We are both on Hardman for tonight. So I'd like to get in the club. It's getting cold outside. All right. Nobody wants to be wearing a jacket out there. Well, hold on. Somebody had the best comment here. Rob, my man Rob said AB selling the hot dogs outside. Dude, that's funny, man. That's hilarious. All right. So you've got our official plays for tonight. You have the donkey for tonight. You have the Van Jefferson Memorials. Boys, before we get out of here, 30 seconds each. What are you looking for tonight in this game? M Squared, I'll start with you, man.
I'm looking to see if Kansas City can keep relying on that defense and see how they hold up in this game. And I want to see how they come out after a bye week. They come out flat at all, or do they come out firing and put a touchdown on the board initially and keep it rolling? And then I'm very interested to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire workload. He had the injury designation, then he's resting, has also an illness tag. I think this is a spot where coming off of that, if they're comfortably in hand in this game, I don't expect them to be the one eating those carries late in this game.
Rob Saris?
I'm looking forward to Byron Pringle having a big day, cashing that ticket. I'm looking forward also to Clyde Edwards-Helaire having less than 15 rushing attempts. I think that is a great bet. Also, very much looking forward to seeing Javonte Williams get 20 to 22 touches. He's electric. He's probably my favorite running back in football right now. Last but not least, I am looking forward to leaving the club around 2:30 a.m. and getting one of those bacon-wrapped hot dogs from AB outside the club.
Well, I'll tell you what. I thought you were going to say you're excited to see me and Coach join you and Mikey at the bar. But you know what? I'll sell you a hot dog, too, to get you a really good price on it. Somebody said the bouncer doesn't accept Chick-fil-A gift cards. It's too good. Everybody, seriously, thank you so much. We appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully give you enough time to get those picks in. And you know what? Let's cash some tickets tonight. We'll see you in the morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, early edge. Make sure to like, subscribe, all of that. But we really do just appreciate you. So thank you so much. Have a good night. See you in the morning.
Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.